Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our ERPS committee meeting, which is Employee Relations and Public Safety. I am Ladina Bolton, our Super District 7 Commissioner. Also on the committee is Commissioner Shakira Johnson and Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson, who will be joining us momentarily. And we're happy to have two of our other commissioners joining us today, which are Commissioner Ted Terry and Commissioner Nicole Messiah. We're going to go ahead and jump in. We do have quite the agenda today, so have committee members had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve item 2025-1629.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Motion carries. We're going to jump around a little bit. We do have a couple of urgent items, so we're going to page 2. Item 2025. This is 2025-1431. This is under Police Services. All commission districts. This is a statewide contract. Number 99999 SPD 0000172-006. Integrated security and surveillance products and services for use by the Department of Police Services. Consists of purchasing from the competitively let number that I read previously to purchase indoor and outdoor cameras with sensor for the video surveillance security system. Awarded to Convergent Technologies, LLC, amount not to exceed $93,635. How you doing, Chief?
Good afternoon, ma'am, commissioners. So this purchase is for the video surveillance and security systems at both police headquarters and fire headquarters. This is in conjunction with DOIT to upgrade the systems from analog systems into the IP systems, and it just provides coverage for both police and fire headquarters.
Is this, you said it's from analog to the new IP systems?
Yes, ma'am.
And we've been operating on analog all of this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Congratulations. Are there any questions from committee members?
No. Sounds like we really need to do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions from fellow commissioners? Alrighty, and I'd just like to acknowledge Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson has joined us. So if there are no other questions or comments, do we have a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve item 2025-1431.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the next item is also under Police Services. This is 2025-1316. All commission districts. This is a change order number 1 to contract 1217878, law enforcement equipment for use by the Department of Police Services. This contract purchases from the competitively let NPP Gov contract number P20270 for the purchase, training, and support conducted electrical weapons. This request seeks to increase the contract term and funds for the upgrade from Taser 7 to Taser 10, awarded to Axon Enterprise, Inc., amount not to exceed $7,890,769.60.
Good afternoon again. So yes, this is to upgrade our current tasers from the outgoing Taser 7s to the most advanced Taser 10 technology. And what it does for us is it provides better safety, not only for the officers, but for the public and even offenders than when we have to deploy the weapons. The Taser 10 gives it extended engagement range, so we don't have to get into such close quarters that could end up in a hand-to-hand combat situation. It provides a 45-foot range versus our current tasers, the Taser 7. In a close quarters range, it's only about 4 feet. And in a standoff type range, it's about 11 feet. So it does increase the ability to use less lethal in a safer manner. The Taser 10 cartridges are also equipped with single prongs, so there's no need to have the dual deployment, as well as when the cartridge is on the Taser 10, that has multiple deployment options, whereas if an officer deploys the Taser, it's not effective, it misses, the subject's still combative, then the officer's faced with a situation to engage the subject hands-on or see if they have time to replace the cartridge and then try to deploy again. Also with this, the technology integration is a lot better. It gives us better management and accountability. This technology comes with us being able to know, right now we have no idea if an officer just unholsters their Taser in a confrontation. This technology provides us with the ability to go back and see every time an officer has unholstered their Taser, whether it was deployed or not. So just an unholster, we'll be able to see why it was unholstered and get more accountability to any time the Taser is even presented versus deployed. So those accountability, the technology integration gives us greater advantages. And again, it's a safer outcomes for the officers, for the public, for the individuals that we face. And with our Taser 7s, they are going outdated. Taser 10 is the new technology. Taser has also agreed to refund us the money on our current contract to go towards this contract as well. So we're taking advantage of this year's pricing instead of waiting to the end of our current cycle.
Do you know what the difference is in that amount?
It is going to be the additional $7 million plus that we're asking for.
Oh, it is that amount.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And this will make sure that all officers or even the vacancies can be outfitted for the Taser 10.
Yes, ma'am. This will give us ample supply, and it'll be phased in because we will have to deploy an entirely new training program to transition to these Tasers, and it'll be every officer will have to go to that training before they receive the Tasers.
Gotcha. Any questions or Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chief. So question, it sounds like you made a good deal with the Taser company. I really appreciate that. I was curious, how long have we had Taser 7? And then how long does the technology update or change?
Taser 7s, I don't have the exact date. Let me see if I can find the original contract, but it's probably been... I can get that answer. I don't have, let me see. Okay, here it is.
I'm really just curious, like, are we updating it every 5 years, 10 years? Like, how often does it get updated? I would assume it's not like it's not an Apple iPhone, so.
Right. This is, it does look like 5 years, ma'am.
Any follow-ups? No. Commissioner Davis Johnson?
Yeah, I think that this Taser is being used nationwide because I was in a presentation with Hank in December. In September in Washington, D.C., where we were given a presentation of it. Of course, I did not practice on it. They did give me that opportunity, but it was very impressive. And in fact, I asked them if DeKalb County, if they had talked to DeKalb County, and they would say, sure, we have.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think that that's the same type of Taser.
Yes, ma'am. It is emerging technology.
And it's very, very, seemed to be very efficient, safer, and accountable.
Yes, ma'am.
As you stated.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions or comments from commissioners? And this question may be for procurement. If you could just clarify, and I'm reading the purchasing order request form where it shows the expiration is June 2026. but it also states that purchasing the Taser 10 allows the department to align the new contract with the start of the calendar year. Is that an indication that there will be an extension if the funds are approved? Is that what that's saying?
I'm sorry, could you tell me what document that was on? Was that on that main page or was that one of the attachments?
It's one of the attachments, and it reads Department of Purchasing and Contracting Contract Change Order Request Form.
Oh, the user department language. So I really wouldn't be able to answer that one. I'm going to turn that over to the user department. It's in that block, that big wide open
ma'am,
space.
it is.
Yeah.
So ultimately what I'm trying to clarify is if we don't make any changes, do the funds expire June 2026, but if we do move forward on this, will there need to be an extension to use the funds? Or it sounds like this statement is indicating that it will be good through the end of the year, even though that isn't shown, that date isn't shown in this document.
So the June 2026 is about the contract. The funding, that's budget related. Whatever is listed for the expiration date, that's how long we have to use the contract, and it's the user department's duty to make sure that there's money available to actually spend what's listed in that agreement.
Okay. Do you know that expiration?
So the current contract for the Taser 7s does expire June 2026, and this request is to extend that contract to the Taser 10s. We will use the money that's still available. We're getting credited for that. And we'll also turn in the Taser 7s, and they will give us the credit on the current contract, and this contract will then go in place for 120 months.
Okay, thank you. I see it now on the quote summary.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thank you. If there are no other questions or concerns from commissioners, go ahead, Commissioner Davis Johnson.
Yeah, is there a is there a training period on this for officers to be trained on it, because it's a little different?
Yes, ma'am. We would implement through our in-service training, which we train annually on even the current tasers. They get recertified every year, but this training would be implemented through our annual in-service training, and it would be the taser transition course.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And how long is that?
Taser transition course normally takes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on the individual student and their capacity to comprehend.
Okay, thank you.
Do community service aides get trained to use the tasers?
I'm not sure if they can. I think they do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve item 2025-1316.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
It seems as if I
Go
have
ahead.
just one other question. It seems as if, as I remember, that you had to be able to carry a handgun for the tasers that I set in.
I can check into that.
Yeah, because that was a question that someone had, that you had to have a license to carry a handgun before you could utilize that.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you could, let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I think.
Yes, ma'am. I'll share that.
All righty. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
We're going to jump to page 3. we do have a guest that is going to talk with us about agenda, or how their work that they do relates to agenda item 2025-1107. This is all commission districts. And it's a resolution requesting the administration implement a DeKalb County Police Department LGBTQ+ police liaison position, and to require hate crimes identification training for law enforcement and for other purposes. All right. Is DA Boston in here? Oh, there you go. And she's just going to come and speak to her work in the LGBTQ and or in the hate crimes area, and how that work may be related to what is being proposed here today.
Good afternoon. It is my honor and pleasure to be here at the request of Commissioner Bolton, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the work that we as the DA's office are doing in our community to support the LGBTQIA+ community. Obviously, this particular resolution is not my department. So first, let me just say I defer to the leadership of the police department in making a decision as to what they feel is the right way to approach policing in this area. So I'm really just here to comment on how we work hand in hand with all of our law enforcement agencies, and in particular DKPD, to address crimes of hate against any marginalized community, but certainly we know that our LGBT+ QIA community is one of those marginalized communities. So I have read the resolution that has been put forth, and the way that I have read it, it sounds like there are two items. First, to establish a police liaison position, and also one that deals with hate crimes identification for law enforcement. So first, let me say that last year, in our efforts to make sure that we are serving all the communities that are within the melting pot of DeKalb County, we do and did create a position for a victim advocate in our office who serves as the liaison for the LGBTQ+IA community. And so her role really is to track and identify cases that are in our office that affect that community, and be the primary victim advocate on any cases where we believe someone's status as a part of that community is the reason for the crime for which they have been a victim. So we're already doing that work in the sense that we understand that, as with any community, that there are folks within DeKalb that feel most comfortable if there is a liaison that understands the specifics and the sensitive nature for which they may be a target. So we wanted to feed that need and meet that need in our community. Also, we saw a need to make sure that we had a more robust presence at community-based events, whether it's Pride here in Atlanta or Pride events in DeKalb. We have folks in our office that specifically wanted to engage in that meaningful outreach. So from a logistical standpoint, I think anytime we can make sure that we're meeting the needs of our community, that's important. And so I would support this effort if this is in fact what the chief feels like is the best way to address these concerns. The only thing I would say is that I would encourage, as with any liaison position that's created, that we make sure that we are doing the right training in an effort to make sure any programming that we're bringing to DeKalb County is in line with best practices. So I will note that Out to Protect, which is an organization that deals in law enforcement training, does have a 3-day training in the spring, March 31st to April 2nd, in the absolutely horrific area of Palm Springs. I imagine no one would want to go there, right, in the spring. But it is a 3-day training, with day one bringing awareness for Train the Trainer, so that you can train your law enforcement personnel who can then go back and conduct trainings within law enforcement agencies. Day two is how to create a liaison program specific to this community. And then day three deals with hate crime investigations. So we just identify that that is a great place, that if this is an initiative that goes forward, we would support it, and we would hope that we get the best practices, that if we're going to implement a program, that we're doing so in a way that meets the needs of the community, but in the best way. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the work we're doing in the DA's office in regards to hate crimes or this community. But other than that, obviously I leave this to the chief and obviously to you, the BOC.
Are there any, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us today. Are there any questions, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, good afternoon. Great to see you again. Curious, any feedback you've received on the programs that you're implementing? How are things going? Like, what are you hearing back?
Well, I would say that a couple of things. Obviously, anytime we're engaged with the community, they're happy to see us, right? And so we, if you check out my newsletter and on our website, we posted about our recent tables that we set up in, it was in Avondale Estates, the most recent Pride event right here in DeKalb. And so we had about 5 of our employees that were manning our table along with our liaison. And, you know, we like to engage with the community. We gave out pins and just also materials, which is the most important thing. We want members, we have found that in doing this work with this particular community, many people are unwilling to come forward and talk about being victims of crime as a result of sexual orientation. So a big part of our community outreach and having a liaison for us in the DA's office has been to say, we hear you, we see you, and we know what type of resources we can offer you. So in that regard, that's been always wonderful. Also, 2 years ago, I took the step to bring in a nationally renowned victim advocate who is a trans woman, and doing this work in Michigan. They had a project in Michigan because there was, in particular, in what they call the 8 Mile area, where they had a significant number of members of the trans community that were victims of crime, specifically trans women of color. And so we actually brought in our that victim advocate to do some training in our office to make sure that everyone in my office is understanding how to engage with the community. Because a big part of getting people to come into the criminal justice system and reporting is making sure they feel welcome. And that starts with us understanding the language we should use, the language we should not use, the fears and concerns, and making people feel safe. So we have gotten good feedback, and we actually prosecuted a couple of homicide cases last year where the motivations for those homicides were rooted in sexual orientation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis Johnson.
I'd like to thank you, DA Boston, for coming to give us some clarification on this issue, because I do know that DeKalb County is a very diverse county, and there's hate in all of the particular groups, diversified groups in DeKalb, including black people. You know, so
Yes.
I do know that. So you pretty much have an umbrella that identifies hate crimes.
We absolutely do. I mean, we understand that we are a diverse community, and we recognize that being a diverse community may make people targets. And so we take that very seriously when it comes to analyzing. Since we have the new hate crime statute, which I will note is just an enhancer and not a separate statute. And so we analyze under those circumstances, whether it's crimes based on race, whether it's crimes based on anti-Semitism, where it's crimes based on our immigrant population, and whether it's crimes based on people based on their sexual orientation or how they identify. So we are committed to making sure that we prosecute all hate-based crime.
And I heard you say earlier, one of the first steps is to making all of these diverse groups feel comfortable.
Yes.
Making a report. So how does, well, I won't say one because I don't know. How do you identify who in your office deal with any particular group that is being targeted?
That's a great question. So our advocates, and we have 33 victim advocates on staff. And one of the things that we do, and amongst our advocates, I want to say we speak about 12 different languages as well. So in the advocacy-based space, we obviously ask people to identify populations that they perhaps want to liaison with, right? So the folks that are advocates in our office that are from the Latinx community and or speak or bilingual will automatically sort of self-identify and say, this is a community that I can relate to. And so for any population, our advocates know that they want to express perhaps the areas of persons they want to work with. And I will say that, in an effort to make sure that we can meet all of our needs, it was a goal of mine, and I met it last year, to get a black male advocate on staff in our office, which we have one now. And I will tell you, nationally, finding victim advocates that are African American men, as opposed to women, because this advocacy space, primarily in my office, is all women working in this space. And I really wanted to cultivate and have an African American male on staff, just so I could meet the needs of our black male victims that perhaps would be more open to identifying with another black male. So I'm always looking to make sure that we're diversifying that group of people that is seen as the person that's doing that direct work with all of our victims in DeKalb.
And one last question is, how does the different communities know that you have that going on in your office?
So we do have on our webpage, we identify, like for example, if you go on our webpage and you're looking for specialized information, if you click through, you will find that we have identified that we do have an advocate working in this space, despite the fact that many organizations have had to scrub that type of information from their websites because of the climate we're in. I was committed to making sure that our community could still find that these resources are available.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Great questions, and I really appreciate those responses. Lots of clarity. Did you have something, Commissioner Messiah?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Just really briefly, thankful to DA Boston in sharing that important point that, particularly for marginalized groups, it's important to allow them the opportunity to identify who they want to be able to work with because, and report, particularly because what they've experienced is sensitive in nature. They feel comfortable opening up to some versus, others. So maybe it's not, our officers directly that, they would want to sort of to create that position and then require additional training that may not, necessarily go to the root to resolve the issue. Maybe it is asking more questions in terms of who they would like to see and to represent them and, bring up and share their concerns, that they may have, and it may not, be with our officers. So that's a great point. Thank you so much for sharing that. With that, I yield to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Terry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Madam DA Boston, for being proactive in the measures that you're taking. I think the fact that you and your office are actively going to community events, particularly around Pride Month, is exactly really what the intent of this resolution is about. If we are only reacting to things, then we're going to miss part of the larger picture. And to me, trust and what you indicated about the trust that some individuals, regardless of their classification, minority, sexual identity, gender identity, if they don't believe that the receiving ear understands or even is up to date on things like pronouns or state laws around bathroom usage, then there's very possibly a barrier that person won't come forward. And it sounds to me like because you have set up a situation where if individuals do not feel comfortable going to police, do they come to your office?
No, let me be clear. So the work we do, our victim advocates primarily are working with victims of crime. Although, even if an arrest hasn't been made, if someone reaches out to our office, our victim advocates will work with anyone to make sure they get referred the services they need. And we obviously go out into the community to be proactive, right? Because there may be victims of crime that either have not reported or hopefully know what to do if something happens. So I don't want to say that there's work. I mean, I work every day in partnership with the police department, right? We are all seeing victims in different ways, and obviously a police officer is almost always going to be your first responder. They are going to be called to an incident. They may see an incident. They may be right there de-escalating an incident, which is different than us. We are going to see things, generally speaking, once a crime has been committed or an arrest has been made. And then we're walking that person through their trauma, the court system, and obviously helping them with any compensation that they may be permitted under the law. So, and then there's the in-between, community events. Myself and the police department are out in the community all the time, engaging with the community separately and together. So it's a mixture and a great partnership to make sure we hit everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, and the way I think that we've heard from the city of Atlanta and how their police liaison position for LGBTQ+ has manifested is that it is mostly proactive. You're going out to the community, you're working with partners like the district attorney, other law enforcement agencies, community organizations, to provide the resources, the training, and I think really, I mean, the presence is there. I mean, that showing up is half the battle, if not most of the battle. I mean, the fact that you showed up at Pride probably means a lot to the LGBTQ+ population, that we're all elected to serve. So, the thing that I really don't want us to get into too much is I'm not bringing this resolution to say there's something wrong with how the police department is operating. I'm trying just to think into the future. We know that we have a large population that do consider DeKalb to be friendly to discriminated classes. We have a non-discrimination ordinance. We're one of the few jurisdictions in Georgia that have this local ordinance, and having a law that says that is one thing, but then being proactive to make sure everyone understands their rights, but also has the comfort to say, I have a problem and I need someone to look at this. So, I think where we're at this stage, is now we have to be reactive because we had that incident at Tucker Library 2 weeks ago where, it's being investigated by the Internal Affairs Division, so we will look forward to seeing that report to come back. But now we have the public suggesting that DeKalb County Police don't know the law, don't understand how to interact with transgendered individuals. And so now we are having this discussion in a reactive space because we are seeing reports from the Transgender Law Center, Georgia Equality, our own public library system had to basically apologize for what happened and said that's absolutely not how we welcome all members of the community. And so I just think that, at the end of the day, this resolution is just requesting the CEO to create this position. We can't make the police department do this, create this position. We can just simply say we think it's a good idea. So that's what I would just hope for the committee and the commissioners would support, is just the idea that we should be proactive. There's lots of opportunity to create additional police liaison positions for lots of different parts of our community that might feel underrepresented. And in fact, Atlanta shared that they use the LGBTQ plus police liaison position as the model to expand to immigrant liaisons and other communities that might feel marginalized. So hopefully that is the opportunity for us to think more broadly and more inclusively, and how our police in that role work with the district attorney, our nonprofit, our community organizations to really say very clearly that DeKalb is a welcoming and inclusive county for all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. And I had a few questions as well. I know we're over in time and we did have some other things we wanted to go through. But can you share how much of your workload, Madam DA, is related to supporting the LGBTQIA plus community?
Generally speaking, that's going to be based on the cases we have coming in the office. Right now, we've only had a handful of cases that we can definitively say were crimes because of some level of sexual orientation or gender identity. Of course, motivations can always be things that we can't pinpoint, but we've seen an increase over the last several years. Particularly more so in the trans community is where we're seeing more of those crimes.
Okay. And are there any barriers to support this community that you feel having a liaison has become necessary?
I think the only barrier I would acknowledge is just we have to build community trust. Trust can oftentimes be the biggest barrier in supporting communities and prosecuting cases, because without witnesses that trust us, without victims that trust us, without communities that trust us and are willing to work with us, it makes it hard for us to hold people accountable.
Okay. And when you guys are out in the community, if, let's say, for example, someone reports an incident to your liaison that you have for LGBTQ plus, do you anticipate there being a difference in how they're served, whether your liaison works directly with the police liaison or any one of the officers who have been trained in hate crimes? We
wouldn't treat any of these cases any differently. I mean, for us, the point of having a liaison as an advocate is really just to make a victim feel more comfortable in telling their story and being supported. How we operate remains the same as any victim of crime that we encounter in DeKalb.
And Chief, can you just join her at the podium? I have a question or two for you as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we currently have a hate crimes liaison or a hate crimes unit of some sort?
We have a special victims unit that deals with predominantly hate crimes. Also, our intelligence and Homeland Security would investigate any special interest cases.
Whenever we have reports from this community, does the SVU officer act sort of as a subject matter expert in communication or how to handle those sort of incidences?
Depending on the case, we would assign it based on knowledge and experience. So it could depend on where we would assign that, but with assistance from supervision as well.
Okay. When it comes to the LGBTQ plus community or hate crimes in general with SVU, I would assume they may have a little bit more in-depth training in those areas than the other officers, or when it comes to hate crimes in that community, everybody sort of gets similar training?
Well, all of our officers receive the hate crimes training.
Okay.
But they may have more in-depth depending on advanced training that they've received or elected to go and attend.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Were there any other questions for Chief from commissioners? No? Okay. Thank you, Chief.
I have just a follow-up from Commissioner Terry, and you heard his statement about the library. Do you have any information on that? Or?
I am aware of the incident. It is under investigation by Internal Affairs. The library did reach out to us after the complaint was received through the library, but it is currently being investigated by our Internal Affairs unit, and I'll be happy to share the results once it's completed.
Okay, and so your I guess your procedure with the LGBTQ plus community, would that be similar with any other diverse group that would encounter an alleged hate crime?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We would, if it was identified as a hate crime, then we would investigate it accordingly based on the protected class in which the allegation was made.
Oh, okay. And so would you say, and I think I asked before, and I think the DA somewhat deferred to you, would you say that a particular liaison is needed within the police department to deal with the different diverse groups that you have in DeKalb County?
I think long term, it's an added benefit to have a liaison for any of the particular groups. I think resources are very slim right now, but my biggest thing, as I mentioned before, is inclusivity in all officers, being liaison for all communities, having all of our officers properly trained. But I'm, completely open to the idea of liaisons. Right now, limited resources kind of puts, that I don't want to label a liaison and not have them have the full impact of having that position in the climate that we're in with staffing shortages and others. But the biggest thing we can do in the limited resources we have is make sure that all of our officers are trained and inclusive, and we are doing that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that you asked the question of the percentage of cases that we've had in the DA's office. What have been the percentage of complaints, allegations that you've had in the police department?
So when this discussion first came up, I believe it was near the end of August of this year, and we pulled the numbers of reported incidents that were reported to police officers from January 1, 2024 to that near the end of August of this year, and we had a total of, I believe, 15 incidents. And that covered 15 incidents, and that covered all hate crimes. It wasn't specific to gender hate crimes. It may have been race-related or other specifics, but it was a total of 15 reported hate crimes through our NIBRS reporting.
Okay. And so that was not broken down into what particular group?
No, ma'am. Not specific to classifications.
Okay. Okay, I have no further questions. Did you have a question,
Commissioner Patrick? Okay. Did you have something, Commissioner Johnson? All right. Thank you so much, Chief. And Madam DA, we really appreciate you joining us today and answering all of our questions. Was there any additional questions or follow-up? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate, Commissioner Terry, you bringing this to our attention. However, I don't want to isolate any given community by only considering one. However, I am open to a motion from committee members if you're ready to make a decision on this item. Otherwise, we can take time for more discussion in further meeting, another meeting.
Yeah. For purposes of discussion, yeah, I'd like to make a motion to deny this for right now. And it's based upon what the DA and what the police chief had stated concerning the statistics, concerning the finances, and we're in unfamiliar times right now as to what resources that we can possibly receive from the federal government. And so I am, I'm one that inclined to protect all our different diverse groups in DeKalb County rather than specifying any one group, because I think that hate is hate no matter what group that you identify in that. And unless we are able to have a liaison for each and every group, I would not want to specify one. I like the fact of what the DA is doing, and it sounds like they're working in cooperation with the police department. It sounds like the police department is working in cooperation with them. And so for that reason, I would make a motion to deny for right now. It's not to say in the future it can't be brought back up, this group or any other group that we feel it may be needed.
Well, because we have a motion on the floor, I do want to ask if we have a second. Okay, and I don't second either, so the motion fails. Commissioner Terry, you wanted to make a comment?
Yes, I'd be happy to work with the committee members to make changes to the resolution that might capture some of the concerns that y'all are raising. I think one thing that we had heard from Chief Pedrick is that aspirationally, the department would like to have multiple liaison positions. And so I could see a way forward where this resolution is simply about asking for the police department to develop a strategy that would create liaison positions and, identify the different areas where we think the greatest need are, and then, just let them work through that process, maybe have some community input sessions, and then maybe in 2026, there's sort of a roadmap of here's where we would like to go. I'll suggest that I do believe that creating this and other liaison positions actually is a signifier to other law enforcement, other future law enforcement, that this department is all inclusive and multifaceted, and potentially I think could increase recruitment and would help build the police force, because they would see that there's an all-encompassing approach to our policing manifested in this liaison position. So I'd be happy to work on that with y'all the next couple of weeks.
And so in response to what you're saying, I don't, and I want to be clear that I don't have any objection in principle with what you're saying, but we still have the obligation to fund the county. And when I say fund the county, the necessary services that we do. So I would like to have a liaison for everyone, but money is prohibited, especially with this administration. So thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, and I appreciate that, Commissioner Terry. I do. When we had the representative from the city of Atlanta last time, and they were speaking to how this was kind of one of the first ones to have those liaisons for multiple protected classes. I really felt that was a good way to go. I did, and DA Boston was speaking about that Out to Protect 3-day training. So I would really like to see somebody attend that and really bring back some information that might really help us cater this even more and just make sure it is what we need it to be. I didn't want to support an outright denial, but I am grateful that you're open to tweaking it as more and really getting it to where we want it to be. So as the sponsor, are you looking for maybe a withdrawal or more of a deferral now that you're open to wordsmithing it?
I'd be happy to work on a new version and share with y'all in the next week. So if y'all want to do a 2 or 4 week deferral, maybe 4 weeks to give you time to review it and come back if the chair allows for that new resolution that might, hopefully be something we can all support.
Yeah, I would suggest 30 days.
Okay, I'll make
And can
that.
I have a question? And with that, would that be multiple groups that you would identify, or would it just be?
I think we would ask the police. So the resolution that I'm imagining is we would just simply ask the police department to develop a strategy for the liaison positions, and we could let them lead on where they see the greatest need. Maybe DA Boston could also weigh in with where she's seeing, certain groups that are marginalized, and we'll kind of let them come back with their recommendations. I thought I saw Chief Patrick saying he liked that idea.
There's a smile. I think that's all right.
So we'll work on that. I'll share it with him as well.
All right, so at this time, I move to defer item 2025-1107 for 30 days with a prior stop in ERPS.
And second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. And if I can borrow about 3 more minutes, there is one more item we wanted to address. Is that okay?
Zach is actually working on a list of priority items, so yes, a few more minutes would be totally good.
Okay. So I believe I'm back on page 1, 20251618 is an item that is near urgency. This is all commission districts, the 2026 Medicare retiree rates. There you go, Mr. Jacobs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. And I promise this probably will take all of 2 or 3 minutes. Just for context, the county insures 3 distinct groups with regards to health care. That's the actives, you and I. Those are the pre-65 retirees. Those 2 groups have a plan year that starts July 1. The only group that has a calendar year plan year are our Medicare retirees, and that's because the federal government will not allow you to change their plan year. And so we are asking today that the committee consider approval of the January 1, 2026 renewal rates for our 2,800 Medicare retirees. We had negotiated, we think, a good renewal. Our Aetna rates would have gone up over $800,000 in total, but because we're making changes to the pharmacy benefit for the Aetna participants, we were able to have some cost avoidance of that $800,000 increase, and we're going to deliver a flat renewal for our Medicare participants, so their rate of $223.64 per month would not increase. Kaiser, a little bit more difficult to negotiate with them because they are a fully insured program and they have a different model. They do provide outstanding care, Only a small portion of our 2,800 Medicare retirees are in the Kaiser plan. About 800 retirees are in that plan. They are proposing a 6% increase, which would take their rate from $209 per month to $222.59 per month, but there would be no plan changes. So we do think overall this was a very good renewal in which our retirees would actually be paying the same amount each month. I should say that that 223 and the 229, that's the gross rate. That's the rate that the county pays. The members only pay $93.84 per month if you're in the Aetna plan, and $93.60 per month if you're in the Kaiser plan. But we always ask the board to approve the gross rate because that's what the insurance company is going to charge us. And then we percentages charged to the participants. So the good news is we avoided $800,000 increases in cost. We are proposing that we switch the Aetna participants to a self-insured pharmacy benefit through CVS Caremark, and that's actually how we're going to save the money. If we had stuck with Aetna's plan as proposed and allowed the pharmacy benefit to be administered by Aetna, we would have seen that $800,000 increase. So switching our Aetna retirees over to CVS allows them to keep their same benefit, their same co-pays, but it saves the county $800,000.
Wonderful. And so just to clarify, there would be no change in rate for the individual and no increase in cost to the county as well.
That's correct. We were able to get essentially a flat renewal, and the good news is our retirees who are certainly on a fixed income will see no increase in their premiums and no changes in their benefit.
Awesome. Any questions or comments from committee members?
No, that was the clarification I was about to ask for. So.
Okay. Any questions or comments from other commissioners? All righty. If there is nothing else, I will entertain a motion.
I will have to abstain on that.
Oh, yes.
Understood. I move to approve item 2025-1618.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Commissioner Patrick?
I'm not sure which item you have next. Obviously, I've been out of the meeting. We can skip my item. I don't want to take too much of my colleagues' time. Does 420 work?
Sure.
Yep. We're good. Okay. The team's all in.
Okay. So item on page 3, item 2024-1233. This is all commission districts, a resolution asking for the DeKalb County Police Department to develop a diversion policy regarding unhoused individuals that considers other options to arrest and jailing them.
I think for the purposes of moving through the rest of the agenda, I'm fine skipping mine for today, if that's okay. And then let's get into the other business that you have.
Oh, I gotcha. I misunderstood what you were communicating.
Yep. It's simply because I know there's going to be more in-depth conversation, and I think we also wanted to have the administration some time to have their responses as well. So.
Gotcha. And I wasn't asking for more time. I know you indicated you guys were looking for something for your meeting, and I was just asking, were you ready to start?
Oh, I think we're ready-ish. Have you finished your agenda yet?
And then I got a bunch of stuff.
If you have some priority items that you can get done by, let's say, 4:20-ish, I'm fine. If not, then my colleagues and I are going to.
All right. There was a request for 2025-1352. But outside of that, all of the other items that were urgent, we've already discussed. This This item is all commission districts. It's an RFP, request for proposal number 2025-046, emergency ambulance services for use by the Department of Fire Rescue. It consists of providing comprehensive 911 ambulance services to include emergency ambulance service, 911 response, advanced life support, and basic life support transport, and any other service that is designed to improve efficiencies in the 911 ambulance service system, such as a nurse hotline. Recommended award to the highest scoring proposer, Metro Ambulance Services, Inc., DBA American Medical Response, amount not to exceed $77,773,900. All righty. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, and good afternoon to all the commissioners. So, Commissioner, first I will start with the fact that we did send a document that had some of the questions that were asked at our previous meeting. They were answered within that document. I'll just summarize very quickly that Commissioner Patrick asked for those reports from the city of Dunwoody and the city of Brookhaven. Those were in that document. And then to the chair, you had asked about the difference between the AMR ambulances and the DeKalb County ambulances. And so within that document, we showed the responses and the response times for each of those components separated for 2024 and 2025. And so if there's no questions about that, then I did present the presentation last time. I don't know if you want me to go back through that presentation again.
No, sir. I did have an opportunity to review what you sent, and I appreciate that. But first, before I ask any questions, were there any questions from committee members? Yes, it's come back from audit and it's supported.
Yes.
Any questions from commissioners? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just say that I have had the opportunity over the last year to tour the AMR facility, in the Tucker Industrial District, and what I've been impressed by is the level of investment that AMR has made in capacity in the metro area, but obviously for DeKalb County in particular with this contract. I'm excited about the negotiations that you've made and you presented about how we are ramping up certain aspects that are designed to decrease that response time to the highest standards. And because we have the sort of the penalties, and then we're also tailoring that with the subsidies that are making sure that we have that capacity, I hope that with approval of this contract by the full board, that we will begin to see continued improvement over the next several years. Obviously, we have the right to say at some point it's not working out, change our mind over the next 5 years. But I have seen that commitment from AMR. Their team have been really responsive of any questions I have. Of course, Chief Fulham, thank you for answering all the questions that I had as well. And so, Madam Chair, I think this definitely has gone through the ringer over the last several year or so as it's being worked out. So I'm comfortable and looking forward, hopefully, for the new system to be in place. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I only had two questions. The first is, Chief, if you could just reiterate how the subsidy was determined or calculated at the rate we have.
Yes, Commissioner. So within the RFP, the submitters had to submit their cost for providing the service as we outlined within the RFP. So that cost was, once again, part of the package that the submitters would have submitted.
Okay. And with respect to the number of vehicles that they'll be bringing on, or the number of staff that they'll have to bring on in order to support the county, are those numbers based on our current population or projected growth over the lifetime of the contract?
Yes, Commissioner, that's a great question. It's based upon our current population, our current need for service.
And is there a strategy for, say, for instance, over the next couple of years, we get an additional 50,000 people in the county? Is there a strategy for it that was communicated on how they would ramp up support for that increase?
Yes, so there's two ways, Commissioner. One is that the county or any of the municipalities could request that the provider provide a dedicated unit. We've spoken before about the fact that the city of Dunwoody is utilizing that ability to have a unit in their community. But overall, if at any time we wanted to renegotiate the contract, or within the RFP, we had segments. We had 600, 650, 700, and 750 hours that the providers had to provide the cost for providing that level of service. So at those different increments.
Are we still expecting to bring on, I think it was an additional 5 DeKalb ambulatory, or ambulances, excuse me. I can't remember if we were bringing more on.
Yeah. So we did purchase the actual vehicles. That purchase has been made, and we do have a total of 12 ambulances. As far as staffing is concerned, we're able to operate anywhere between 6 to 8 ambulances on any given day. We run our ambulances 12-hour shifts. So during a 12-hour shift on any given day, we're operating 6 to 8 ambulances.
Okay. All righty. That's it for my questions. Any other follow-ups from commissioners? All right. I am ready for a motion.
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve item 2025-1352.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Since
I move to adjourn. You saw me reaching for the mic.
Second.
all in favor? Aye.